We have more now on the breaking news in Canada's auto industry. Stellantis is moving Jeep Compass production that was planned for its Brampton, Ontario plant to the U.S. That Brampton plant has effectively been on the front line of the U.S. trade war since President Donald Trump announced his plan to bring auto tariffs back in February. Retooling has been on hold, and more than 3,000 unionized Stellantis workers have been on layoff. Stellantis does say it has plans for the Brampton plant, but the automaker says it wants to hold discussions with governments before saying more. Let's go now to Lana Payne. She is the national president of Unifor. It is the primary union representing Canada's auto workers. Lana is joining us this morning from Toronto. Good morning, and thank you for making some time for us today.
Good morning. Thanks, Hillary, for having me as well.
I'm hoping to get some of your initial reaction, what you thought of, what went through your mind when you first heard this Stellantis announcement.
It's been a very, very difficult year, Hillary, for all of our members across many sectors of the economy, particularly the auto sector, and now, of course, the forestry sector, too. We have been pressuring governments since the start of the year when Donald Trump basically launched this trade war against Canadian workers and Canadian industries. We've also been pressuring companies to keep production here in Canada. There's only so much, obviously, that we could do in that regard. We need our governments fighting with us. We need to be using the leverage that we have as a country to make sure that we're keeping our industrial economy intact. And right now, that industrial economy is under serious threat. And the ground zero for it is at Brampton.
And I want to talk more, of course, about some of those direct threats that the industry is facing. But first, the workers, because you did mention them, bringing up what a difficult year it has been for auto workers across this country. What are you hearing from them this morning about what has happened?
Oh, I mean, I was meeting with our auto leadership yesterday when we got this news from Stellantis. We were worried that this kind of news would come, given the tariff threats that we've been under, given the fact that Stellantis paused the retool in February. It's been incredibly uncertain for our Brampton members. I am not at all happy with this decision, as you can imagine. Shifting what was a slated product for Brampton to the United States, obviously in response to this trade war, but also to appease the President of the United States. And I've been clear to the automakers that we expect them to live up to their commitments to our members, to all auto workers in Canada, and to the governments of Canada, and to the Canadians themselves. We buy a lot of vehicles in this country. And the reality is we expect automakers to build and to employ people here in Canada.
Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, also says that he has been speaking with Stellantis and made the point in a statement today that no funding has flowed to Stellantis for this Brampton project, and that it won't until the provincial government, until all levels of government receive what he called clear assurances on when this plant will restart operations. In your view, Lana, what do you think that government can do? What would you like to see them do at the provincial and the federal levels?
Well, the first thing we have to do is get a product in that plant and get people working. Secondly, we have to defend the entire auto industry. If we're not going to stand up as a nation for 157,000 direct jobs and 500,000 Canadians who depend on this industry, what are we going to stand up for in this trade war? This is incredibly important that we are fighting for these jobs in the moment that we're facing this test. And the resolve of the nation right now has to be that we're going to defend the auto sector and all sectors that are under attack by President Trump right now.
Last week, Lana, Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, met with Donald Trump at the White House. Trump indicated that Canada might like anything that comes of that meeting, an agreement perhaps. It seemed as if maybe relations between those two leaders were warming, and now this. So based on all of that, I'm wondering what sort of leverage, if any, you think the Prime Minister might have here.
Well, we have a lot of leverage. I mean, as a nation, we have lots of things that the United States needs. They can't build things without us. They need our aluminum, despite the fact that they put a 50% tariff on it. They need our steel. They need our energy. They need our lumber. And we have to think strategically about how we fight back right now. We have taken a number of tactics. Currently, our approach has been to continue to have conversations with the U.S., to lessen our retaliation against the U.S. I think it's time that we have to rethink some of this. Has this been working for us? Because the reality is we continue to be hammered with tariffs. We had more tariffs last week and the week before. This is destroying the Canadian economy, and we have to fight back. We don't have a choice here, or we cede our industrial economy to the United States.
We've been referencing all morning here, Lana, that Trump's trade czar, Howard Lutnick, seemed to make comments sort of behind closed doors in recent days that Canada would always come second to the U.S. when it comes to vehicle assembly, for example, when it comes to trying to preserve the auto sector. How do you protect, in your view, against these very, very direct attacks coming from senior levels of the Trump administration?
I mean, they have been saying this from the beginning that they're coming for our auto jobs. This is not a surprise to us. The heightened rhetoric from Lutnick is not helpful, of course, as you're trying to negotiate an agreement with the United States. But the reality is that we have to push back as a country and as a nation in order to protect manufacturing jobs, in order to protect the auto industry, in order to protect all of our industries right now, because it doesn't stop at auto. They will keep coming until they have weakened us as a nation and as an economy. And that is something we can't stand for. So the moment is now. The line in the sand is Brampton, and we have to push back as a country to make sure that we're protecting Canadian jobs today and into the future from this attack from the United States.
And finally here, Lana, I'm hoping you can sort of leave us with some final thoughts, maybe a message for Canada's auto workers. And you mentioned earlier that you were actually in a meeting with auto industry leaders when you got this news. Take us inside that meeting. What was the mood like when all of this news dropped?
Yeah, I mean, our leaders in the auto industry are very smart people. They understand what has been happening since February, since we got the first kind of attack from the Trump administration. They know this industry inside out. So they know what's at stake and they know what's at risk and they know the vulnerabilities that we have. But they also know what we can fight for. We come from a fighting union. We are not giving up here. If anything, the fight starts renewed today because the reality is the stakes are just too high. And as a union, we have to fight for every single job. And that's what we're going to be doing. And we expect our governments to fight with us.
Lana Payne for us this morning. Thank you so much for coming on the show, for making some time for us today. We do appreciate this.
Thanks, Hillary.